Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into the world of omega-3s?
Always ready to talk about good fats.
Well, today we're going to tackle all the hype around fish oil and if it really lives up to its reputation.
You know, all those promises of a healthier heart and a sharper brain.
And don't forget those achy joints.
Oh, yeah, those two.
So we're taking a look at Omega-800 ultra-concentrated omega-3 fish oil.
Interesting choice.
It's got some pretty cool features like KD per technology for better absorption.
And supposedly no fishy aftertaste.
Exactly. But before we get into all that, why are we even talking about omega-3s in the first place?
Okay, so think of omega-3s as like essential building blocks for your body.
Essential building blocks.
Yeah, specifically the fatty acids, EPA and DHA.
Right, EPA and DHA.
And they're super important for just about everything.
Like what?
Well, keeping your heart running smoothly, making sure your brain is firing on all cylinders.
Okay, so they're important, but can't we just get enough through our diet?
You could, but it's tough. You'd need to be eating salmon and mackerel like every other day.
Yeah, that's a lot of fish.
It is. Most of us aren't hitting those seafood quotas.
So that's where supplements like Omega-800 come in.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this Omega-800 then. The review mentions a pretty impressive concentration of omega-3s.
Oh, yeah. How much are we talking?
It boasts a whopping 1,000 milligrams per serving.
Wow, that's pretty high.
That's got to be more than a lot of other brands.
Not for sure. It's definitely designed to deliver a good dose of EPA and DHA in just one soft gel.
And then there's this KD per triglyceride form.
Ah, yes, KD per.
What is that exactly? Like some supercharged omega-3?
Well, you can think of it like this. The KD per is like a VIP pass for the omega-3s to get into your bloodstream.
A VIP pass.
It's the form naturally found in fish, and it's much easier for our bodies to absorb compared to other forms.
Ah, so it's not just about how much you take.
No, it's also about how well your body can actually use it.
And that's where this KD per tech comes in.
Makes a big difference.
They also emphasize the source of their fish oil in the review. Oh, right. Yeah, sustainability is important.
Sustainably harvested fish. Good for us and the planet.
Exactly. Purity is key too, especially with fish oil. Plus, they even use fish gelatin for the soft gels.
Oh, interesting. Good for pescatarians then.
Yep.
Okay, so it seems like they've got the quality and sustainability covered. But let's get down to the benefits. What does all this omega-3 actually do for our bodies? We always hear about heart health, brain health.
Oh, and joints too.
Right. So much good stuff.
Let's break it down, starting with the heart. So EPA and DHA, those work together to lower triglycerides. Those are the fats in your blood that can lead to heart disease.
So like they're cleaning things up in there.
Yeah, keeping things flowing smoothly. Plus, they can help lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation.
Inflammation's a big one.
Huge factor in heart problems.
Got it. So omega-3s are like a multi-pronged attack on heart disease. But what about our brains? How do these fatty acids affect how sharp we are?
Well, DHA is amazing for brain health. It's a major part of brain cell membranes. Those are the outer layers that protect our brain cells.
Okay, I'm following.
DHA basically helps keep those membranes strong and flexible.
Why is that important?
Well, then the brain cells can communicate more effectively.
So it's like ensuring our brain's communication lines are crystal clear.
Perfect analogy. And all that leads to better memory, focus, overall cognitive function.
I'm already feeling smarter. But wait, there's more.
You bet. We still need to talk about joints.
Ah, yes, the joints. You mentioned those earlier. What's the connection there?
Omega-3s are super powerful anti-inflammatories.
And inflammation is often what causes our joints to feel stiff and achy.
Exactly. So by reducing inflammation, omega-3s can help with joint pain and mobility.
So if you're dealing with joint pain, omega-3s could actually make a difference.
It's definitely possible,
Yeah.
especially for people with osteoarthritis where inflammation plays a big role.
Wow, so we've got heart health, brain power, joint support. Anything else we're missing?
Well, we could talk about eye health too.
Really? Eyes too?
Yeah. Research suggests that DHA may help protect against age-related macular degeneration. That's a leading cause of vision loss.
Okay. We might have to save that for another deep dive, though.
Probably a good idea.
So Omega-800 seems to check off a lot of boxes. High concentration, easy absorption, sustainable sourcing, benefits for the heart, brain, joints, and maybe even eyes.
It's looking pretty good.
But how does it actually measure up in the real world?
That's the real question.
Let's explore that in part 2 of our deep dive.
So, it's great that Omega-800 has all these potential benefits, but
But what?
well, we should probably address some of the common questions people have about fish oil.
Yeah, good point. It's not all perfect, right? I know some people are worried about sustainability and contaminants.
Yeah, especially with ocean pollution and everything. Those
Exactly.
are valid concerns for sure. But this Omega-800 review actually highlights that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they say they source their oil from sustainably managed fisheries.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, it basically means choosing fish that are caught in a way that doesn't harm the ocean's ecosystem.
So it's kind of like choosing the dolphin-safe tuna at the store.
Exactly. And they even go a step further. They use that KD-PER technology to remove any potential contaminants, like heavy metals.
So they're really cleaning it up.
Pretty much. Like a detox for the oil.
That makes me feel better. But what about vegetarians and vegans?
Oh, that's a good question. There are plant-based sources of omega-3s out there.
Like what?
Well, flaxseed oil and chia seeds are good examples. They contain ALA. That's another type of omega-3.
Okay, so those could be options for people who don't eat fish.
Right.
But is ALA just as good as the EPA and DHA from fish oil?
That's where it gets a little tricky. See, our bodies have to convert ALA into EPA and DHA. Well, that process isn't very efficient. It's kind of like translating a book into another language. Some of the meaning gets lost in translation.
Ah, it's
So while plant-based sources are great, they might not be as potent when it comes to those specific omega-3s.
okay, that makes sense. What about krill oil? I've heard that's a good alternative.
Krill oil is interesting. It comes from these tiny crustaceans.
Crustaceans.
Yeah, they're kind of like the shrimp of the Antarctic.
Oh, wow. Didn't know
Like
that.
fish oil, it has EPA and DHA,
Okay.
but it also has this thing called astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin, what
It's a
is
super powerful antioxidant that gives krill oil that red color.
antioxidant?
Yeah. They fight off damage from harmful molecules in our bodies.
So krill oil has some extra benefits.
It does. But if you're just looking at EPA and DHA, fish oil usually has higher concentrations.
And don't forget, Omega-800 uses that KD-PER for better absorption.
Right. Krill oil has its advantages, but fish oil, especially one like Omega-800, seems to be the most direct way to get those key fatty acids.
So it's not really about one being better than the other.
No, not really. It's more about what works best for each person.
Which brings us to dosage. This Omega-800 review suggests taking just one soft gel per day.
Just one.
Yeah, is that normal for fish oil?
It really depends on a lot of things.
Like what?
Well, your diet, your health goals, what your doctor recommends.
Makes sense?
Some people might need more. Some might be fine with just one. It's like figuring out how much water to give a plant. A cactus doesn't need as much as a fern.
Good analogy.
Right.
It's always best to check with your doctor to be sure.
Always a good idea.
Okay, so let's talk side effects. Are there any downsides to taking fish oil?
Well, for most people, it's pretty well tolerated.
Okay.
But some people might get some mild side effects.
Like what?
You know, the dreaded fish burps.
Oh, yeah? Those.
Maybe some indigestion or changes in bowel movements.
Nothing too terrible.
Right. But people with fish allergies definitely need to be careful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And talk to their doctor, right?
Absolutely. And same goes for pregnant or breastfeeding women and people taking blood thinners.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
Good advice. Now, before we get too carried away with all the amazing benefits of omega-3s,
Yeah.
we should remember that these supplements aren't a magic cure-all.
Oh, definitely not. Taking a fish oil pill isn't going to instantly make you healthy.
So no more pizza and ice cream.
Well, moderation is always key.
Right.
It's not a free pass to skip the gym either.
So omega-3s are more like a supporting actor in a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly. They can support your overall health, but they work best with a balanced diet, exercise, all that good stuff.
It's all about the bigger picture.
Right.
Now, I know we've been focusing on Omega-800, but there are tons of other fish oil supplements out there.
So many options.
How do you choose the right one?
It can be overwhelming. But the key is to do your research.
Research.
Yeah. Look for brands that prioritize quality and sustainability.
Okay.
See if they use third-party testing to verify their products.
Third-party testing, what's that?
It's like checking online reviews before you book a hotel.
Ah, I get it. You want to make sure you're getting what you pay for.
Exactly.
So quality and third-party testing are important. But I guess it also comes down to finding a brand that you trust, right?
Yeah, for sure. One that aligns with your values. Maybe they focus on ethical sourcing or support a cause you care about.
That's a good point. And of course, budget comes into play too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Fish oil supplements can range in price quite a bit.
So find one that fits your budget without skimping on quality.
That's the sweet spot.
All this talk about omega-3s has me wondering about the future. What's next for omega-3 research? Any exciting breakthroughs on the horizon?
Ooh, that's a fun question. There's always something new happening in the world of nutrition science. One thing that's really interesting is personalized omega-3 recommendations.
Personalized
Yeah,
recommendations.
so instead of those generic guidelines, imagine getting advice tailored to your specific needs.
So moving away from that one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. Like,
That'd
what if
be
you could go to the doctor, get some tests done, and receive a personalized omega-3 prescription?
Wow, that would be incredible.
Right. It would take into account your genetics,
Yeah,
your lifestyle, your health goals.
that makes so much more sense than just taking a random dose.
I think so too. And researchers are also looking at how omega-3s work with other nutrients and therapies.
Like combining forces.
Yeah, like a superpowered health intervention. For example, there's research on combining omega-3s and vitamin D for bone health,
Interesting.
or omega-3s and probiotics for gut health.
So it's like creating custom nutrient cocktails.
Exactly. And this kind of research could lead to some really remarkable breakthroughs in the future.
This is all fascinating. But let's switch gears for a second.
Okay, where are we headed?
I want to talk about omega-3s and mental health.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
We talked about cognitive function, but this seems to go beyond just memory and focus.
Right, you are.
Hmm.
Researchers are now looking at whether omega-3s could help with things like depression, anxiety, even ADHD.
Wow, that's huge.
It is, especially with those conditions becoming more and more common.
If we can find natural ways to support mental well-being, that would be amazing.
Absolutely. And the research is really gaining momentum.
Okay, so personalized recommendations, combination therapies, and mental health applications. The future of omega-3s is looking pretty bright.
It certainly is. Omega-3s are already so valuable for our health. And as research continues, we'll probably discover even more benefits.
Well, on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the world of omega-3s, looked at omega-800, addressed some common questions and concerns, and even glimpsed into the future of omega-3 research.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. Any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
If you're thinking about adding omega-3s to your routine, do your research. Choose a high-quality supplement and talk to your doctor about the right dose.
Good advice. And remember, supplements are just one part of the picture.
Right. A healthy lifestyle is the foundation for feeling your best.
You know, all this talk about personalized omega-3s,
Yeah.
it really got me thinking, well, what if we could go beyond just general advice and actually see how omega-3s are affecting you personally?
That's a cool idea, but how would we measure that? Would we need like blood tests? There are a few ways to get a sense of how your body's responding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like blood tests can measure your EPA and DHA levels.
So we could actually see if those levels go up after taking omega-800.
Exactly. It
Huh?
gives you a baseline and you can track changes over time.
I like that.
Huh.
But couldn't we also just pay attention to how we're feeling?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important too.
Like if our focus is better or our energy levels?
Yeah, or if your joints are less stiff,
Right.
those subjective changes can be really valuable.
So it's like we're tuning into our body's own feedback system.
Exactly.
But wouldn't some of those changes be really subtle?
That's true. It's not always easy to isolate the effects of one specific thing.
Right. Like how do you know if it's the omega-3s or something else?
Well, keeping a journal can help.
A journal.
Yeah, just jot down your symptoms, how you're feeling.
So you can look for patterns.
Right. And maybe connect the dots between those changes and the omega-3s.
That makes sense. What if someone isn't noticing any changes, though? Does that mean it's not working?
Not necessarily.
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes a while to see the benefits, especially if you were starting with low levels of omega-3s.
So it's like we're replenishing something that was depleted.
Yeah, it takes time to fill back up.
And I guess it also depends what you're trying to achieve, right?
Oh, definitely. If you're looking for major improvements in a specific health condition, you might need a higher dose or maybe try something else entirely.
Right. Always good to work with your doctor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even if you don't see those big obvious changes, the omega-3s are still working in the background.
Supporting our long-term health.
Exactly. It's like building a strong foundation.
So even if we can't always see it, those omega-3s are busy building healthy cells and protecting us from within.
That's a great way to put it.
You mentioned earlier that researchers are looking into omega-3s and mental health.
Yes.
I'm really curious about that. What are they finding?
It's super interesting stuff. They're discovering that omega-3s, especially DHA, are really important for brain function and communication.
Yeah.
And now they're investigating if increasing omega-3 intake could help with things like depression and anxiety.
So it's not just about thinking more clearly, but also about feeling better emotionally.
You got it. It's like the omega-3s help create a more balanced environment in the brain.
And that could make us more resilient to stress.
Potentially.
Yeah.
and better able to handle those tough emotions.
That's amazing. And it makes sense that taking care of our mental health is just as important as our physical health.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm definitely going to keep an eye on those studies.
You too.
It's pretty incredible to think that just increasing our omega-3s could have such a big impact on how we feel.
It really shows how connected our minds and bodies are.
What we eat affects everything.
It really does.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from the basics of omega-3s to some really cutting-edge research.
We went deep.
We did. As we wrap up this deep dive, is there anything else you want to share?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that omega-3s are essential, and a good quality supplement like omega-800 could be a smart choice, but it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Living a healthy lifestyle with good food, exercise, managing stress, all that is still the foundation.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the world of omega-3s.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to the Deep Dive. We hope you found this episode informative and inspiring. Until next time, stay curious.